This man never imagined that at his 79-year-old grandfather's funeral, he would discover he had a 6-year-old aunt. The other relatives, however, did not like his grandfather's illegitimate daughter. They stayed away, not speaking to her. Yet the little girl, who had been quietly standing in the corner, let her guard down in front of this 30-year-old man. The man's name is Daikichi. His daily routine consisted of going to work. He lived alone, and he had very little contact with his relatives and friends. When Daikichi heard about his grandfather's passing, he arrived at his grandfather's house early. As Daikichi walked in, he noticed a little girl holding a gentian flower. She was staring at him. When Rin saw Daikichi glance at her, she shyly ran away. Daikichi was confused. Just as he thought that Rin was his niece whom he had never met, his mother, who was at the house, told him that Rin was, in fact, his grandfather's illegitimate daughter. While Daikichi was still in shock, Rin kept peeking at him from the door. Rin, who had been quietly standing by the altar, noticed Daikichi coming over to offer incense. She quickly hid behind the door, secretly watching this man, who looked remarkably similar to the man in the portrait. That evening, the family members gathered, but none of them liked Rin. However, Rin was the only one who stayed in the funeral hall at midnight. Daikichi noticed how tired Rin looked and offered to let her rest. Eventually, Rin fell asleep resting against Daikichi's hand. The next day, during the farewell ceremony, everyone held white chrysanthemums to say their goodbyes. As Daikichi was about to hand a white chrysanthemum to Rin, she suddenly ran outside to the flower bed. There, she picked 2 gentian flowers, the ones her grandfather loved the most during his life. The contrast in colors between the 2 flowers was striking. Daikichi told Rin that her grandfather would never wake up again. Rin grabbed Daikichi's shirt and began crying. It was the first time Daikichi had seen her cry since arriving at the funeral. Soon, the funeral ended, and the guests left. Only the family members remained, gathered to discuss where Rin should go. Some felt they were too busy with work to adopt her, while others thought she was too slow-witted to take in. Even Daikichi's mother immediately refused, claiming it would be too much trouble. As time passed, no one wanted to adopt Rin. In the end, they decided to send her to an adoption agency. Daikichi, hearing this, frowned. He slammed his teacup down onto the table and walked toward Rin. He told her to come with him. Daikichi's mother tried to stop him, but Rin, looking at Daikichi's familiar face, thought for a moment before running toward him. The next morning, when Daikichi woke up, he found a little girl in his room. He paused for a moment, then remembered he had officially adopted Rin the day before, right in front of the whole family. That morning, Daikichi began thinking about what to buy for Rin. They went to a clothing store, but Daikichi had lived alone for 30 years and had never bought clothes for a child. He picked out an outfit but wasn't sure about Rin's size. He then watched a woman next to him, comparing the clothes to Rin. In the end, it was Rin who picked out her own clothes. When Daikichi asked Rin why she didn't pick a skirt, she explained that skirts weren't allowed at kindergarten. It dawned on Daikichi after a while that the next day was Monday, and it was the first day of school. He quickly bought a lot of things and returned home. He called his friends to ask how to handle the enrollment process. After learning that the process was complicated, Daikichi decided to look for a temporary kindergarten online, though they were all far from his office. The next morning, Daikichi was woken up by Rin. As Daikichi was about to eat his rice ball for breakfast, he noticed that Rin was still praying beside him. Daikichi set the rice ball down and waited for them to finish praying together before he began his meal.